idea then than we do when we grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Because we then get distracted with, you know, nice, bright, sparkly, shiny things, and a bigger this and a better that and a faster something else and a prettier this or a younger whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we get distracted by a lot of those things. But
Right.
I think most of us find that when we really go inside to find what it is that we wanted to do, we can remember, oh, actually, I had that idea when I was very, very small.
Yes, exactly. And we build from small, right? We don't get bigger immediately. There's always the beginning part, then like small, medium, large. So it just depends. Like for me, I've used a lot of human design, astrology, numerology, Chaldean numerology. So I've used different disciplines to arrive at the conclusion of, okay, what is it really? Who am I? Where am I going? Anything about my past that influences me, right? And what am I creating in the future? So the first thing for those of you that are just starting, let's say you're an employee and you would like to be a business owner. So remember this, your per hour is not it is not the one you're going to ask from someone. So if you're making $50 an hour, let's say, or realistically $25 an hour, you're not going to charge $25 an hour when you open your business. Because if I think of a business as a baby and I need to feed this child, right? It is a baby. It's not you. You are not your business, right? So if some of you are like, well, I just want it to be simple. So that means you just replace your job, right? So if you're used to making $25 an hour and you would like to collect the same $25 an hour, well, that also means you probably have to work 8 hours a day. To have a business is to have a child that you needed to feed, to clothe, and to provide shelter for. So you cannot charge $25 an hour. You have to either double it or triple it in order to pay for the expenses of the child, of the business, because the child would need food, clothing, and shelter. So if you start with that, then again, a lot of growth inside, right? Because you're going to be like, it's been ingrained in your head that you are worth $25 an hour. And then suddenly you're like, what? Am I going to go 50 or 75? Right? So those are that's part of the growth process. Because having the right mindset to start a business, it is having another baby. It's a simple
point. Yeah. It is. It needs to be nurtured and cared for, and sometimes it needs new shoes, or
yes,
something,
new clothes, new hats, new everything.
Yeah.
Right? New website. I mean, how are people going to know you exist?
Right.
You have to do marketing. There's a budget for that. So when you're making $25 an hour before and you collect the same thing, that won't work. And that was my biggest fear. I remembered when I was a physical therapist and then moved into running a business, I was almost feeling guilty charging more. That was the first thing. So obviously I had money blocks a long time ago. And then I realized, oh, I can't support this business if I charge the same amount because I won't pay myself. And that was the biggest mistake that most entrepreneurs make. They don't pay themselves because they're feeding this baby. Well, if a mother doesn't exist to feed her child, tell me what happens. So I'm breaking it down to that analogy, right? That's a very close relationship to us. So what happens if you give all your energy to your child and you don't have anything left?
You don't have anything left. Yeah, you get stressed out and conked out, and eventually the child suffers.
Yes, and because you get upset and you're hot-headed and you yell. That's what happens, right? So we need to shift the mindset if you are going to be an entrepreneur, because it takes a lot of time sometimes. Well, some people take a short time, but if you've been working, let's say for 20, 30 years and suddenly you want to build a business, you have to shift something. Something has to change. It cannot just transfer. I wish it's like magically like a fairy dust, and I would just do this and go quick. Like the next morning, you're like, oh no, I'm not this person anymore working for this company. I'm now the boss of my company. Those are two different hats, and it requires different skill sets. And I think that's why we get too hard on ourselves, especially women. Like, I should have figured it out. Why did I even change my job? Come on. Give yourself time to heal and release all the old stuff and then create something new. Really, that's the key.
Can you overlap? I mean, can you start your own business while you're still employed by someone else?
Yes, definitely. You could do that too. And it's like riding two boats, right? So it just depends. If your business starts to take off and the boat goes faster, then what happens to your legs? So I'm creating a physical analogy so you guys feel it, right? What happens if one boat goes faster? You're going to stretch, right? So you may have to have a milestone, right? When I make this much money here, then I can release this other job. So I can be here in my new role as a business owner, rather than spreading myself too thin or doing a splits, because eventually you break yourself that way.
Right. So is there a magic number for that, do you think?
The magic number is once you actually, I think I heard this from a coach in the past and I forgot who, but you need to be able to at least make half of what you're making already. And that's the safe exit from the job.
Right,
So,
because you want a little bit of incentive as well, don't you? It's like, I'm only making half, I've got to make some more. So I'm now going to focus all my attention on my new project.
Yes.
But I can see advantages from a financial point of view of having the security of an income when you first start.
Yeah, definitely. It is the security, right? Like what's safe to you. Security is safety. So if money for you is something that makes you feel safe, because it takes a few things to learn, right? There are skills to run a business. It's not just, oh, I'm good at what I do. Okay, so what? Are you good at producing slides, producing content, or are you good at sales? Are you good at marketing? Are you good at business management, right? Or are you good at the financial side of it? Or are you good at donating certain things? So there's so many aspects of the business to run that if you think you can do it all, that's the reason why you have coworkers. Because if there's like 30 people in your company and suddenly you are the company, think about that. So people kind of underestimate like what is business ownership. It is more than one person in a department. And if you really would like the capacity to earn more money than what you're making, right? Because in a salaried employee job, even if you work hard, even if you're good at what you do and you take more skills through seminars or webinars, you're only going to get paid the maximum amount that your company will pay you. That is the max. There is nothing beyond that.
Correct.
When you have a business, it's a different story. However, you also have to fund the other departments.
Right. So you could have a marketing department and a bookkeeping department. Those are often two of the departments that I think people start off with earlier than the others, because marketing is so important. And then, you know, if you're
need to know what you're doing and what you're offering.
Exactly, they need to know you exist. And then if you're making money and you need to invoice people, you've got to have someone looking after making sure that you're getting paid to do things.
Right.
And luckily, nowadays, it's really easy to find people to join your group or your team you know, for relatively inexpensive starting points, I think. And that's one of the things that MyHomeBiz.TIPS was created for, to support people with all these other steps, because you're not, if you're an expert in a certain thing, you're not an expert in the other
And
things.
everything. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
stay in your lane is what we call it. You have
Yes.
to stay in your lane.
Right. And from being around you, I've noticed that there are certain characters, certain characteristics or character traits, if you like, that people have that make them more likely to be better at doing certain things, right? So you
Definitely.
can choose in your business which bits that you like to do, and then find someone else who enjoys the other bits. I mean, there are plenty of people out there who love numbers, who are great at doing bookkeeping and accounting. And there are other people who love communicating and sales, you know. So there's always somebody who will really enjoy doing what it is you don't enjoy,
Definitely.
so that you end up with a group of people who are all loving what they do.
Exactly. And if you have that, well, it starts with the leader also, right? If the leader loves what they do and then just knows where to drive their lane, then the other people can do their job well. And then it becomes this beautiful, we call it the well-oiled machine that just everybody contributes. They're acknowledged for their genius zone. When you're like that, then of course you're happy, right? Because there's a lot of positive reinforcements happening in the group. And then of course the clients want to work with you because the whole team is also communicating with one another, and the right hand can see what the left hand is doing, and then they're not clashing. Can you see that clashing? Yes, definitely.
And then how do you fit the other parts of your life in? How do you fit your family in? And you've got 4 children. I've only got
Yeah.
1. Sometimes I find that difficult to juggle. So how
Yeah.
have you made that work?
So fortunately, I have 2. One graduated in college. The other one is about to graduate in 1 to 2 years. She likes to change. And 2 little ones, right? So I put it on a schedule. And then I usually during like this holiday season, we start to have a little family meeting, when we have our vacations, and we start to ask them because, children change and their needs change and their wants change. So you ask them what's important to them so everybody feels heard. And then in the past, what I've done is really schedule appointments even with my children. Like my girls like to hang out, either go shopping or just go hang out at the mall, do something when pre-COVID. So I would ask them, hey, do you want to go out with me this month? And then I'll put them on the schedule so we understand. There's an agreement on when we're going to do that. It also teaches, I think, my children to ask before, how people just go, they assume that you're the mother, that you're supposed to do this. There's a lot of misunderstanding there. So I actually show them my calendar and I say, hey, you want to hang out? I'm free sometime this week. When would you like to do that? And then I put that on my calendar. So then there's an undivided attention given to them, and we share the same interest during that time rather than me thinking about, oh, I got to work, I got to do this, the multitasker in an entrepreneur. So scheduling really helps, and they understand the value of that. Like, oh yeah, you make an appointment. It's just being polite, right? And respectful of your time, their time, because they're also doing something. So that's what I've done that in the past, calendaring those appointments. It works.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Putting a calendar and then having a structure. It does seem, with every conversation I have or everything I write, it all does seem to come back to having a system in place and having structure in place, having a routine, having a rhythm, basically repeating the same thing.
Right. There's a rhythm. Like, look at the weather. There's a rhythm, right? Winter, spring, summer, or fall. We can't change that. Now, if you go with a rhythm, like the moon has a rhythm, the sun has a rhythm, right? There's a daytime, nighttime. So if you like to make your life chaotic, it's really up to you. Now, some people that are super organized, they Sometimes they're like, I really don't want to do that, right? But the excitement is in the craziness of not being organized until you can't catch up. So there's
Yeah.
always the beginning and the end of everything, right? So let's say you're super organized and you're like, oh, I want to try to be just crazy and not thinking about any structure. Go for it. You'll see. And then you can be in the middle and go, okay, I like a bit of this and a little bit of that. So now scheduling doesn't mean that you have to fill up your whole schedule. Please don't do that. If you're the boss, you shouldn't have an 8-hour job. Like, I like freedom. That's one of my values. So if I say I feel like working 3, like my body, a muscle test, and I go, today I may work for 4 hours, okay, or 3. Actually, today is a 3-hour thing. So then that's it. After that, I just have to say, okay, I'm done, because you've achieved your max, like your energy level. You're only productive during that time.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. That's why you're the boss. You're the entrepreneur. Now, if you work for someone and it's an 8-hour job, that's the regulation, right? You decided to enter that. So then you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Look at people that really work 8 hours, 5 days a week. They're exhausted. I haven't met anyone that has a lot of free time. They think that it doesn't exist because their whole life has a schedule. Not
But they
fun.
always seem to be desperate for the weekend, don't they? People who are
But then when you get
full-time
back home,
employed.
look, what do you need to do? You need to clean your house. There's so much. So the delegation piece in an entrepreneurship is very appealing for most people.
It's crucial.
It is. It is. The rest and the rejuvenation is critical to your own health and well-being, your own sanity.
Right. So that's how you fit it all together, and it makes complete sense. When your children were smaller and you couldn't sit with them and schedule them in, then how did you manage that?
Well, I just scheduled the park time with them.
Right.
Going to the park because I like nature, so exposing them to that. In the playground, there's different kinds of equipments, right, that they could use and they could explore. Well, that's the physical therapist in me, right? So as they grow up, their interests change.
Yes, that's right.
As your business grows, the level of your commitment to your business also changes. Believe it or not, the bigger you grow, as you get into the 6, 7-figure or 7-figure mark, what happens is you start to delegate more and you stay in your genius zone. Whatever you're good at, you just do that, and the rest of it, you give it to people who love that department. That's the key to success, right? When you can let go and stop controlling everything, you can just stay in your lane and be happy and just work how many hours you like to work. That's really the key there to a 7-figure or $1 million or more income. Delegation is the key. And if you do a 6-figure, like 100,000 to 500,000, there is a lot of massive imperfect actions because you're still trying different things, and that's okay, right? And then when you're transitioning from employee to entrepreneur, you really need to learn a little bit more about what's important to you. It's not what everybody else is doing, right? What is important to you? Because if you are the lifeblood of this business, why are you looking at someone else? You can look to just see, okay, what are they doing? Would I like that?
Can I interrupt you a second?
Sure.
Did you say massive and perfect action?
Imperfect. Massive, imperfect action for the 6-figure earner, 100,000 to maybe 300,000, right? Because it's the transition, right? When we are growing something, then you got to do something. It's not like I can meditate all day. I could do that. That doesn't mean it's going to come to me because I live in a physical universe. I still have to do something to make things happen. Now, I have to choose what are those activities that'll generate that amount, right? With ease, grace, and flow, rather than run myself ragged to get that income. That is not what I am advocating.
Right.
Because if you don't know what's important to you, you're going to go against your own values, and you won't like, even if you made the money, you won't like it anyway.
You won't like it, and it won't stay.
Yeah.
Because it'll know that you don't like it, and it'll go off and find somebody else to hang out with.
Exactly. That's your best friend money, right?
Right. Now, I think you said a couple of really important things, and one of them is that it's imperfect action.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us are waiting till things are just perfect, and until we don't want to send out that blog because it's not quite perfect, and then when we do publish it, it's actually 3 weeks late because we've been sitting on it for a long time, or we don't want to release this product because it's not quite right. And you're saying that things can be imperfect and still work.
Yes, definitely. I learned this a lot. You just have to have a structure, right? Like a skeleton. You know how when you build a house, you really don't know how it looks like, except if you're a perfectionist that every detail has to be right. No, you're like, well, I kind of like it like this, that the bedroom is on this side and it's 2 stories, like you have your own ideas. You give it to the architect draws that, and then the people start working on it, right? So when you're building a course, you do have to decide, okay, I always reverse engineer my process. So I go look at what outcome would I like my clients to have. So for example, my prosperity mindset bootcamp, that's a six months, because I notice I'm very fast as far as energetics, right? However, not everybody can process as fast as I'm doing things. So therefore I go, okay, so what do they need to feel safe? First question, because they're moving from employee to entrepreneur. 6 months gives them some time to clear or change their mindset towards prosperity. What do I really want to have in my life to be happy, right? Because you got to be happy. Otherwise, what kind of business are you creating when you're like, oh my God, I got to wake up and do this again? That's not happy. People are not going to come to you when you have a lot of resentment towards what you're doing. It doesn't work.
Right. Yeah.
Like, why do I hang out with you? I don't like you very much.
Yeah.
Unless you're like tortured, right? Or sacrifice yourself. It doesn't work like that. People love to feel welcome, and people want to be in a group wherein they feel like they're growing with other people. So this transition from employee to entrepreneurship, I notice it's not an overnight thing. It's not a 2-month thing, not 3 months. And I'm like, okay, how long does it take for people to really get it? And I've run enough programs to observe that, because you're going from, let's say, a 5-figure income to maybe going on 6, or maybe you're in a 6-figure income, but you're an employee, you're not an entrepreneur. So there's a shift that's going on, right? There's a change that needs to happen, not just mindset, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Like everything changes. So that's why I gave it a 6-month thing. And it requires some energy work. It requires a difference in mindset. And then the attitudes, then the behaviors, our beliefs about money. Well, because we do have our own beliefs. It doesn't mean it's true for everyone. It's true for you. But the question is it helping you or is it hurting you? So you really have to know what that is. And you have to calm down. You have to stop stressing. That's really the number one key. If you're stressed out all the time, I don't know if money is going to come to you. Like, do you like hanging out, Andrea, with stressed out people? I just think about it.
No.
Nobody likes, oh my God, I can do this. I can do that. Oh, I'm like, okay, what do you want now?
Yeah, it's actually hurts almost in a physical level when people around me are too stressed and agitated. And I have a daughter. She's now grown up. I'm looking as if I'm looking to see where she is. She's upstairs.
How old is she now?
She's now 14.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And I have a puppy who is 8.5 months old.
Okay.
And I have a husband.
Uh-huh.
And so I live in close proximity to other people and other beings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting. They all avoid the
Mm-hmm.
person who's stressed out.
Yep.
Even the dog does it.
Oh, yes,
Just
definitely.
moves away where there is stress. So if somebody starts getting angry and upset about, I don't know, it happened earlier today. Before it happened with you, it happened with someone else. A computer not working properly. And people get wound up. You sort of see other people moving away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The person trying to help, when they realize they can't help, they just move away. It's a subconscious thing.
The aura, or the energetic field, becomes erratic, like a spiky thing. I mean, do you like spiky things? Just ask yourself, if there's a spiky plant and you're hiking, you move away from that, making sure you don't get hit by the thorns, right? Same thing with people. They don't realize, or maybe they're not conscious when they just blow up. So there's so much pressure inside their body, they have to blow up. And of course, you just push people away.
Yeah.
And you can do that in your business. So you guys that are thinking about having a business, or you're in business and you're always upset, you're pushing money away. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. You're doing a spiky thing.
Yep. That's happening.
So of all your years of experience in the different areas that you've worked in, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's starting out?
That's a hard question for me, right? So if your question is, how do you become a money magnet?
Sure.
Okay. So again, if you think about money is energy.
Yes.
And if you can receive it with ease, grace, and flow, you can have it. So that statement is loaded, right? Because mentally, you have to be able to receive.
Yes. What you're saying sounds backwards, because it sounds as though someone has to give it to me in order for me. I mean, I think that someone has to give me something for me to have it. But you're saying I have to be able to have it in order for somebody to give it to me.
You have to have a container. So if you don't have any offer, well, how are people going to exchange money with you? So even if you have one container, one offer in your business, and you make that, like once you make it, that's that, right?
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat, so to speak. So you can have a very simplified business with one offer. So you run, let's say, a group, or you want one-on-one. Obviously, if it's one-on-one, it's just going to be limited to just one-on-one interaction. It doesn't matter if you charge $500, $1,000, $10,000 for your hour. It's still one person, limited to the time, right? Versus group that you can fill it. Now, obviously, your container depends on your capacity to exchange that information and energy. So if you can receive, because you have something to give. All of us have. Whether we went to school, we didn't go to school, we have experiences in our lives. You can help someone, but you have to receive. So a lot of people that give advice or just help people, they just like to help. But then if somebody wants to help them, they're not open to that. So money is energy. So if you're not able to be open to receiving, you can't really have money, unfortunately.
Yeah. Asking for help is a really big thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's that.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's perfect. So we've talked about how our thought processes and our experience and our feelings control our action, which affects the outcome of what's happening.
Yes.
And how, in order to be able to grow our businesses and indeed develop our lives, we need to be able to receive the things that we want which could be other things, couldn't they? I mean, if one were seriously overweight, couldn't one want to receive weight loss and a nice slim body? If one had a physical issue that was a problem, couldn't one want to receive perfect health or almost perfect health, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay. So you can apply this information in lots of different circumstances in life. Right. Thank you for that. That's really valuable and precious. Before we go, I believe you have a gift that you'd like to give to the audience of today's show.
Yes. So for this particular group, I know that they're probably interested how to clear their money blocks, right?
Yeah, I should say so. Definitely.
So you can go to overwhelm911.com and you can see my site there. And if you keep on scrolling down, you'll see this book called Money Blocks. 8 steps to get to 6 figures in 90 days or less in any economy.
Wow, 90 days is not long.
90 days is about 3 months, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a #1 bestseller in Amazon. You can get it in an ebook format, or you can get a book.
Right.
Definitely.
And that's linked on our website, actually. On our website is a little section about you, has your picture, little biography, links to various places, and the link is on there. So our website is MyHomeBiz.TIPS. And you also have your own website, don't you? Which is viviandeguzman.com. Is that it? Okay,
yes.
That'll be on the screen in a second.
Yes.
Right. So that's where we can find you.
Definitely.
But you're saying that the book, what was it called again?
Money Blocks. 8
Money
steps
Blocks.
to get to 6 figures in 90 days or less in any economy.
Right. But that's on a different website.
That's overwhelm911.com.
Overwhelm911.com.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds like we don't want to be. So the money the solution we find if we find out.
If you can find the solution before you even have the problem, that's a great book to have.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Definitely. Cool.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much, Vivian. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you this morning.
Thank you, Andrea, for inviting me, and I hope to see you guys either on my website requesting that, or definitely reach out. If anybody would like a free clarity call, they can also find it in that site. So, or definitely reach out. If anybody would like a free clarity call, they can also find it in that site. So thank you so much.
Perfect. And look out for Vivian's show on this network as well. This is JP Media Network. And Vivian's show is called My Spiritual RX.
Money RX. Money RX. Or definitely reach out. If anybody would like a free clarity call, they can also find it in that site. So thank you so much.
Perfect. And look out for Vivian's show on this network as well. This is JP Media Network. And Vivian's show is called My Spiritual RX.
Money RX.
Money RX.
Wednesdays at 12 p.m.
Okay. And this is Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Okay,
awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Vivian. See you again soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.